Can we get all you think we could come up with a creative way to capture all the hot air that's coming out of Annapolis and put it into a fueling function for weed eaters? That's probably just as effective as this bill's going to be.
Hello.
We're
Welcome.
back.
Yeah.
We are concerned citizens, empowering the people, igniting change. We're going to go around the horn once again. See, I'm going to pass the ball first this time. I'm gonna make sure that I'm not going to hog it at the beginning this time. We're going to start with you, Mr. Brandon.
Hey, everybody. I am Brandon Russell, one of, I think and believe, many concerned citizens in St. Mary's County.
Absolutely.
I like that. I'm Chris Hill, and likewise with Brandon, a concerned citizen in St. Mary's County.
And I am BJ Hall. I'm not concerned at all.
Unbothered.
Unbothered. No, I'm fired up.
Are you really fired up? Is there anything to be? Is it that fired up? We're gonna pull back the curtain a little bit and tell everybody that you texted us this build today that we're gonna talk about, and it was like, "Ooh, we got a good one."
Oh man, because yes, you whatever behind. Was it a little inside baseball here?
Yeah, right.
It was like I'm excited. It's like, oh yeah. So I got to ask you all. We're gonna go in the same direction. What are you reading right now?
Well, I am actually just about finished with a book on the legal situation that happened with Terry Schiavo back in the early 2000s. So if you aren't familiar or don't remember that case, it was a woman who was disabled, and her husband and her husband's lawyer were claiming that she was completely incapacitated and wanted to remove her feeding tube. And her parents lawyer said that that was not true and were trying to fight to keep her alive. Ultimately, the husband won out. But the book I'm reading is by the lawyer who represented Terry Schiavo's parents, explaining their side of the case and why they believed they were correct. And so it's a very interesting read, especially about, disability law and kind of the unprecedented nature of that case. It had a lot of firsts for the state of Florida. They had Congress involved, passing a late night bill on Easter weekend. The president got in on it. I mean, I was younger then, but I remember the case. But just reading all the background was kind of crazy.
Oh wow,
That sounds interesting, actually.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like you even concerned with your reading list. What about you, Chris?
I am reading and I just started this book again. So it's Selling Value. It's a real estate thing. Key principles of value-based selling. It's how I sharpen my knife, right?
Roger that. I just got finished with The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. And it's a really good book if you haven't had an opportunity to read it. Just talking about some of the disconnects between educated African Americans and uneducated African Americans in 1933, and some of the things that need to happen to kind of bridge that gap. And it was interesting just kind of reading it again as a 40-year-old man. It was like, man, some of that stuff is still relevant today. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Well, no, I know that's not a good thing. And that's one of the reasons why I'm fired up, because I've been reading The Miseducation of the Negro. And it's one of those things where that's one of those books that have you running out of your door ready for action. So I'm about to move on to a narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. I went to a nice lecture the other day, and I was like, you know what? I haven't done much reading on Frederick Douglass in a while, so I need to get back into it. All right. Well, thank you for sharing, gentlemen. Now to the good stuff, legislation.
Is it
uh,
good stuff? I don't know.
I mean, it's the stuff that we like. It's like tell them how you spend your day, listening to hearings and everything.
I
No.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, we're coming up on the day where the final day for bills to come out of committee. That's on the 15th, and there are a lot of bills that are stuck in committee, and some of our favorites are stuck there. Hopefully, some of them make it out prior to the 15th. Crossover is next week, and that's when bills go from either the House to the Senate or vice versa. So, if you're not familiar with the process, it has to be approved by the House and then by the Senate. And I think Brandon explained this it was like a couple of weeks ago, but it has to be approved by both the House of Delegates and the Senate in order to become law, and the governor as well. So
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting between now and next Monday, March 20th. Because a lot of work has to be done because a lot of things are just unfinished.
Do they so I actually don't understand this exactly either. So like if a bill's in committee and if it doesn't get out by Monday, it essentially is dead, right? I mean, like,
Yep.
I mean, they can do some special things, I understand, like, but
suspend the rules or something like
yeah,
that. But
typically
that's unlikely.
Unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's like VJ said, there's quite a few of our local bills that are stuck in committee, and probably I don't think, at least where in district voting is concerned, I think that's probably done. And I think if we really want to push something, we need to make sure that our public works funding gets through.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that it's so late in the game and that hasn't made it out of committee, or what's going on with that.
Well, the Senate bills made it over. So the Senate bills crossed over.
Okay.
So they snuck
good.
one in.
That's good.
So and it's the dual version. So you have the one with all the qualifiers on the 15 million for the YMCA. So I mean it's alignment with the MOU, but I mean at least we get the money back. I mean get the money approved. Right. So that's the most important thing. So I think we're actually in a good space for that bill to pass. I think
which one is that? That's 457.
That's
no
457. Yeah, 457, 458 on the Senate side.
Senate bill.
Yeah, 574, 575 on the House side.
Got it.
Yes, sir. In district voting, stuck in committee, and Brian's bill that tried to make sure that we got it. His backup bill, it's also stuck in committee.
Right.
Thinking about some interesting bills. Just a quick chat about some of the things that that the legislature kind of goes through. Well, some of the bills that they present. Brandon, you highlighted a good one about gas-powered leaf blowers.
Yeah, so that is HB 399, and basically that is just to prohibit the state itself from purchasing a gas-powered leaf blower after July 1st of this year, and then after July 1st of 2025, they cannot even use a gas-powered leaf blower that is already owned. And so this is not for citizens, I don't think. It reads as if it's just for the state.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not going to affect our everyday lives, but I haven't looked at the fiscal note for this, so I'm interested to see, is it actually going to save us any money in gas, or any of you guys check that out?
It's supposed to save us money with the gas, because instead of them refilling on gas, they just charge the batteries. So and it's supposed to just be a replacement, because as the gas power one, as they go out, as they need to be replaced, they just replace with electric. So
I'm sorry. No. What?
Why no?
You can charge the leaf blower with that car charger you're putting into your house.
That's right. That's exactly right. And all the excessive electricity that we generate because everything's solar powered and the rainbows come down and recharge all of the charging stations where the unicorns frolic. Right? I mean, this is
Yes.
just stop it already. What I don't. I'm sorry. Am I like, are gas weed eaters really killing our environment that much? Are they? I mean, for
I
educating.
think so. I think what it is this is kind of if since you're a salesman, this is what you salesmen call foot in the door. This is the
Yes.
foot in the door technique, right? And so all they're doing is trying to show that they're trying to pass a bill that says that something needs to be done. They know that they can't say that all vehicles need to be electric. They can't say that all gas powered landscaping equipment
Yeah.
can be. They can't even do that. They can't get that approved. But now if they get this one on the books, this sets a precedent, and they say, all right, we have this on the books now, and let's see if we can grow from here.
Can we
Yep.
get all you think we could come up with a creative way to capture all the hot air that's coming out of Annapolis and put it into a fueling function for weed eaters? That's probably just as effective as this bill's going to be.
What we need to do is we need to build the wind farm right there, so we have those turbines. And
Mhm.
Hey, you know what? I heard somebody, a friend of mine lives out west. It's a realtor friend, and they talk. Do you know you can't be near these things in the wintertime? Did you know this?
what are
Because
these
of
things?
ice buildup.
Oh, you're talking about the turbines?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah.
yeah.
And apparently it's very dangerous and it kills animals. So I guess they're really like it'll fall on them. I'm not kidding. I mean, this is a real thing.
Wow.
Or maybe I could be losing my mind, but
I just want you to know that some of my best friends are from the Sierra Club, and what you will not do is get them mad at me talking about this type of stuff.
Flying ice picks.
It's like it's killing
Or
fish.
icicles.
It
Yeah.
was like you had the Sierra Club fighting PETA. It was like, oh man.
I mean, look, I love nature. I love, all that, and I want to protect it just like anybody else does. Things like this are just we need, again, we've talked about it in the last podcast. We're smarter than this. Come on, we are smarter than banning gas weed eaters. There's got to be a way to fix this.
So what I will say, any type of change has to be incremental.
Yep.
And it's like when you start making adjustments, especially look how passionate you are about them moving the needle with a weed eater or a leaf blower. And so it's not even that big a deal. But it's like you're hot.
Yeah,
Like,
They're coming for your leaf blower next, Chris.
Oh my
calm
gosh.
down.
We're gonna have
But
we're gonna have riots in the streets over leaf blowers.
Hey, I don't think we're beyond that. So I can see somebody they go out there with a bunch of gas powered leaf blowers in Annapolis. Like,
I'm going to go get mine now. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to keep it right here, hug it. I'm going to bring it on the next podcast. We're
Make sure you put our logo on the back of it.
Right.
I'm concerned.
I just think we got. I don't know. Again, that was a good bill to pick, by the way, Brandon. That's a good one.
It was. Another one that I'm a little concerned about. There's one that's supposed to make it, adjust the traffic law so bicycle operators can run stop signs under certain conditions. And I'm like, if you have to explain that, it was like, what does that mean? It's like if you give the vehicles right away, there were like a lot of conditions in which it had to be met for bicycles to actually run stop signs. And I'm like, you're just making it more dangerous for cyclists, and it's already dangerous as hell out here riding bicycles, and people disrespect cyclists all the time.
Yeah, they do.
It's like, no, don't change this rules.
I mean,
go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I was just going to say, people don't even know who has the right of way at a four-way stop. And so if you can't remember that, basic stuff from your driver's test, then I don't know. I mean, even myself, like, I know I can do the four-way stop, but I'm not a bicyclist. I'm not going to, as a motor vehicle operator, I'm not going to remember who has what, when they can run the stop sign. And I mean, and then what happens if you run the stop sign, you think that you're right to do it, but you're on the bicycle and somebody hits you? Whose fault is it?
Right.
At that point, I don't think it matters. It's like, we know who's
As
going to
long
win
as you're
that
alive.
crash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a few people that have been hit by vehicles, and that's a bad day.
I just actually, it's just funny. I just saw electric bicycle rebate program. Now that I can get behind that.
So you're selective with your electric transition.
Just I might as well be a politician, because that's what they are. They're selective in what bills they pick and what affects them, right?
I can't wait to see your house with that charge. Was it
Yeah,
car on the charger,
charger
bike on
station.
the charger? It was like you're gonna have your leaf blower charging up. It was like right next to your big solar panels.
Yeah, it's not where I'm going to be for sure, but that's a good one. So what you got? One
Last
more on
one.
here.
Yeah, so HB 130 has to do with foreign manufacturer of election systems, and it's not really a long bill. I think it's maybe 4 or 5 pages, and basically what it says is that the State Board of Elections can't approve a contract with an election service provider unless the contract includes a clause requiring that service provider to tell the state if any portion of the election machine has been manufactured in another country, or if any material change to a component in any stage of the manufacturing process happens outside of the United States during any term of the contract. So basically, if anything from whatever, the big part to the little part of this election machine comes from a foreign country, we want to know about it. I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea.
No, I don't either. I think this is the first piece of legislation that ever came out of Baltimore City that made sense for the rest of the state. Am I wrong? I mean, I think it makes total sense. I mean, even if it's not assuming anything's ever happened or whatever, right? If we want to play, do that. I don't see how there's nothing bad about that idea. I think I like it.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it's one of those things where when you're ordering something of that magnitude, it just makes sense for you to understand where everything came from.
So I got a question though. Do you need to have if you're providing one of these voting machines, I'm reading the bill right now, do you need to have an ID? Because I'm just curious.
See now, I feel like you're picking now. It's like you're trying to warm up for 1180. Is that what this is?
You said you were fired up.
Oh, let's go.
This bill, just to further underscore what a good idea this is, it had 135 yes votes in the House, 0 no votes.
Wow, that's
so. Yes, 0 no votes. So this is truly a bipartisan agreement for election integrity. It's
going to go through too. And I love that. Actually, I love it. I love that it's a bipartisan bill that's going to make it through. And, it's interesting. I didn't see it's got a sponsor, but you usually have other, I don't see anybody else on it. Right.
No, I saw that too. That's why I was a little nervous about it.
Me too. But it looks like it's rolling too.
They wish they had now.
Yeah.
They could call it a win.
Right, for sure.
I support election integrity.
Yeah, right. I call it Save the Baby Puppies. I've called it that forever. You can't not, if a bill Save the Baby Puppies, you can't vote against it.
Now, if we can just get some of these bond bills supporting some of my nonprofit work under baby puppies, it's like, can that be a baby puppy?
Yeah.
And we're still waiting on Maxwell House for that sponsorship.
Yeah, that sponsorship, right? You know, it is funny though, because we talked about it before this, and I think the way these bills are written in the synopsis that comes out, it can actually make or break a bill. I actually think
Absolutely.
that synopsis, because I'm sure not everyone up there is reading the bills, and I just because which one was it we were talking about, Brandon? It was the one that the synopsis.
It's 1180.
Yeah.
That's
So
the next on our
The
list.
next
on
bill.
our list, right.
Yeah.
And that synopsis really, I think, just kind of really sabotages the bill a little bit, and we'll talk about it, I guess. But
You want to read it for us?
you know what? I will. I'll read. I'll read the synopsis, and so that way people. So the synopsis says this is a criminal law, Youth Accountability and Safety Act. So let's words matter, right? Youth Accountability and Safety Act. Providing that a person who was under the age of 25 years at the time of the offense may not be found to have committed murder in the first degree, if, by the way, run-on sentence, if the charge is based on a murder committed in the perpetration or attempt to perpetrate a certain felony.
What does that mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
okay, Brandon. You want to throw that one at me?
So before we get to it, I also like to define the felony.
Uh-oh.
We
lost you there for a
this
second,
is something.
DJ.
Can you?
Well, it's just we lost a citizen.
Yep. We are
We're losing
concerned
you.
citizens.
Yeah, it's only 2 now, not 3. There you are. You're back.
There we go. It's that internet monopoly company that we won't mention.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! It was like you turn on one too many devices. I got to turn all my devices off Wi-Fi. I was like, please don't slurp while I'm trying to stream.
That's okay.
All right. What I was trying to say is, we need to define the felony murder rule. Did y'all hear that part?
Yes, I did. And
okay.
So what's funny is I went to Chat GPT and I put in the Maryland felony murder. In Maryland, felony murder is a legal doctrine that holds a person responsible for the death of another person that occurs during the commission of a felony, period. Under Maryland law, a person can be charged with felony murder if they were involved in a felony that resulted in the death of another person, even if the death was unintentional. There's more, but
yeah, that's the most important part.
Yeah, I get it. I listened to this. I listened to the hearing, the first one, and it did make me, because that's what I'm saying. The synopsis reads like anybody under 25.
Right.
It's the purge. Go out and do what you got to do. If you're under 25.
And that's what people online were saying. It was like, oh, we were asking for the purge. It was like, oh my God. And that's why I was a little disturbed by some of the people that were jumping on the rhetoric. I'm like, y'all know better. And you're just getting people pissed off for something. Now, you can be pissed off about the change, but at least understand what the change is,
Well, I mean, the only thing, I think there are circumstances where this is, this makes sense, right? I get it. Okay. But I think the problem is I'm not an attorney, so understanding the law is the hard part for me. There's so many idiosyncrasies about these felony laws, that I don't understand. But the problem is, it's just like I said before, it's like this, it's the murder bill, right? Like the okay to murder bill,
Right. So the thing,
I had a issue with it. When I first looked at it too, I was like, this is crazy. Why would we do this? But then after reading the whole bill and watching the committee hearing, it does make a lot more sense. I still don't agree with the age limit.
Me either.
I think if you're going to change the law to try to improve it, then it should not be restricted to people under 25. They have some data in here about race and age and people who are arrested for murder, how it disproportionately affects Black or African-American people by a lot, actually, according to this data.
it does.
But I think, just listening to the committee hearing, there was a delegate who gave a pretty good example. We talked about this earlier, and the example was, imagine that there's two people, two criminals, criminal A and criminal B, who are going to do a robbery, and they rob a convenience store, come out, the police are there, and the police shoot and kill criminal A, but then criminal B, who just did the robbery, also gets charged with murder. So I think that example kind of really highlights the issue that the current law has and made it a little bit more clear for me when I was investigating this.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that when I heard that and better understood what they were talking about, it did make more sense. I don't think it didn't. It still doesn't. The age doesn't sit well with me one way or another, because like either you're old enough. I don't know if you're. I don't know. You're a minor, or you're not a minor, right? That's kind of what I see it as, and I think we have to be smart about that. Well, we don't have to be smart about anything anymore, but.
Well, I think this is another case where they're trying something on the books, because actually they tried to change this rule before, and so they're trying to use another tactic to get the law adjusted. So at least some people are accounted for in with the changed law, but I don't think that either way is gonna. Well, I'm not sure that this is the best route of going, but I wish that they could just just get rid of felony murder altogether. Well, the rule as applied here, not for the actual murderers. Let me make sure I say that. I'm not saying.
Is that clickbait or what? We're gonna put that in a short for sure.
Yes, right at the start of the show.
Right, and poor BJ, obviously. Your internet's just acting up tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I see the spinning wheels every time I go crazy.
Oh, do you? But I don't know. I think listening to the hearing was really eye-opening to me, right? Like, because I did hear other opinions and understand what they were trying to accomplish. But this speaks to a bigger issue, and that is that our laws haven't evolved at a rate that they maybe needed to, right? And then there's lots of loopholes. Sometimes you wonder if if you're in there and you're pointing a gun at the police officers, and you didn't shoot the guy inside, you're criminal B, and you're shooting and you're pointing your gun at the police officers, and somebody else is shot and killed. You kind of had, isn't this like the accessory to murder thing that they have in other states, like more of accessory to murder, I think?
Yeah, but that's already a crime, so it's no need for this to be there. So it's one of those things where this one is used in cases that are not that clear cut. So if you happen to be the driver, the getaway driver in a robbery, and it's considered a felony, and there's a murder that happened at some point in that robbery, then the getaway driver can be convicted for felony murder as well.
Right.
It was like, he doesn't know what's happening inside. He's just in the car. He's just trying to help get away. Not saying that he shouldn't be. He should. There are there's a law. There are laws that take care of what he's done. So it's no need for him to also have felony murder on top of everything.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we also, to Chris's point about, the law not evolving. During the committee, they talked about how the roots of this law went back to the 15 or 1600s in England, and it was put into law, like on the books for Maryland in the mid 1800s. And so obviously police work, detective work, that kind of stuff has changed. Forensics have changed over the last 200 years or so. And so where this law might have been put in place as kind of a extra catch-all to make sure that, prosecutors back in the day could easily lock up criminals, now we don't necessarily have a need for this, because there are ways that we can investigate things and make sure that we're putting people in jail for what they should be in jail for or not.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, they said that they got rid of this in England in 1957, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I don't know why we're so far behind the British.
Yeah, well, I wonder if this is just going to have like I always wonder. I don't know enough, but what do other states do? What do they do other states have the same law? Is it something that they've changed? How they changed it differently?
Most states still have this law in place, but they're
losing you.
Uh-oh.
Yep, froze up. I'm sure he's seeing the spinning wheel, Brandon.
Yeah.
You know what we should, when he comes back, we should just be silent for a second.
Just freeze.
Yeah. It's good quality, high speed internet in Southern Maryland.
Where's the bill for that?
This is firing me up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Good bills, good discussion this time, guys.
Yeah.
And hopefully we find another hot one for our next episode, right?
I'm sure we will. And we're getting a crossover now, so that's going to be more exciting.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? And by the way, before I'm sure we're getting ready to wrap up. I'm sure, but make sure if you guys out there listening to us have a bill that you're interested in, throw it our way. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We'd love to BS about it. See what we can. You never know. Well, I'm talking about anything.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get some of the delegates or the senators to after crossover. Maybe we can get some of the sponsors to chime in.
I'm sure we could do that. I'm sure we could definitely get. I bet we could get a lot of them. Honestly, I'd love to.
Yeah,
especially locally, we can for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, until we get those delegates and senators, you got to make sure you got to stay informed
and stay engaged
and stay empowered.
Love
there
it.
we go.
There it is.
Yes.
Bye-bye.